Well, I mean, after one of the most ridiculous comebacks I think I've ever seen in terms of Polaris ever, that is a ridiculous 14-12 scoreline. It's Heat who come out on top from being 10-2 down. I mean, Sam, that is something special. And of course, now we focus our attention towards Haven. I'm still out of breath. I've still lost my mind. But for the likes of Alliance, they have to reevaluate themselves. They have to reset because that is a brutal loss.
The thing is, though, I think that they shouldn't be too rough on themselves. Okay, yes, they only got 2 points in the second half, but flip side, Heat only got 2 points in the first half. So that says a lot. And I think that Alliance can be really proud of what they've been able to bring to the table. And you also have to bear in mind that it was Heat's map pick. Now, as we move over onto map 2, it's going to be Haven. And this is Alliance's map pick. This is the perfect opportunity for them to show what they're made of, to show what they've planned, what they've been strategizing, how much they've improved over the last little while, and hopefully bring that to the table. I'm still sticking down on my 2-1 prediction. Right. So hopefully we get to see Alliance bring that. And again, you know, just a couple of tweaks to that attacking half. It was a little bit lackluster. And if they can bring that to the fore, if they can, you know, keep that attacking half just that little bit stronger. Of course, bearing in mind that they are going to be starting on attack here, because with this being their map pick, obviously, Heat decide to take the defensive side. So I think that this is a good opportunity for Heat to create a nice buffer for themselves, but it's a good opportunity for Alliance to kind of show what they're made of, and they are the ones that realistically need to create the buffer.
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, going forward now for Alliance, as I mentioned, that kind of mental reset needs to come through. As you mentioned, it was close, right? But to only pick up 2 rounds and 16 played, it's very easy for them to be tilted, and I can kind of see why. Hopefully it doesn't really play too much of an effect. We take a look at the agents, though, coming in towards map number 2, that of Haven. And, well, Sam, any thoughts? The very sort of similar setup over towards Heat, apart from Remoy.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I was saying. I expected that we might get some Rays to come out because a lot of teams have been leaning into that. And of course, Remoy off of the KO onto the Breach. Still an initiator, still a lot of firepower to use before or behind that. But I think that you'll get a lot more value out of the Breach on this one because, the KO knife, you've got 3 sights, so you're going to be getting less value out of that knife. You're going to be spotting out fewer people, and I think that Breach's ultimate really can come in huge handy here on a map like Haven with so many walls to kind of power through. And you'll see Malfoy, of course, on the counterpart there. I'm loving the Sky from Cider, but I think that's just because I love Sky. I love how much information gathering it brings to the table, and I think that that's going to work out really well for them. I think a big thing to note is that neither of these two teams have picked the Sova. I think that so the Fade can more or less replace the Sova in a lot of instances, but I think that Alliance might struggle here because yes, they do have the Sky for that information, but I think that they're at a deficit when you compare to the utility that's available for Heat.
We'll have to wait and see. Of course, Heat, as you mentioned, starting on that defender side. Alliance on the attacking side. How do Alliance respond after that one? Already deep in towards mid. Monstrum quite aggressive. Needs to be careful not to overextend. Echoes will just take a step back. Early bits of damage done towards Cedar and Zoran as well. Not too shabby at all as they're left to less than half HP. Taps come through from Nila. Won't quite find his mark. And the tempo slowed right back down for Alliance. They tested the waters over towards C. They tested the waters in towards mid. Didn't find the success in the early entry they were looking for. And now it's about sort of reevaluating the situation. And Kinguin potentially could be in for something special here. He's looking for that first. Damage dealt. Malfoy so low on HP. So lucky to stay alive as well. As he left to just 8 points. But he just about remains alive, and that's all that matters. That headhunter causing a couple of issues. As Waddle coming in from behind, it's Seedoof, catches him on the flank. This now gives him that entry, that opening kill, and how do they want to play this? They go back over towards the C site. They've had a little bit of success before. Monster trying to deny that presence. Good for one of his own. Looking to try and make it a second. Spotting him out. He's very low on HP, and it's Remoy in behind. This is falling apart for Alliance as they're left to just 3.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, like I said, B is just extended mid. And Heat have taken full control of it. Alliance need to be very careful here in this post-plant.
Monstrum nice. Cedar will fall. 2 versus 4. Looking for more. But there are just too many places to look. Too many people to find. Like a deer in headlights. Just doesn't even know where to look. It's a first round on the board for Heat. And on the defender side, not too shabby of a start. They only lose 1.
Yeah, I mean, Alliance, okay, it's a bit rough because very early on in the round, so many of their players lose quite a bit of HP. And on a pistol round, that's pretty important. You don't really have firepower to help keep you in it when you're at low HP. I mean, we've seen some serious hero players with like 4 HP dreams.
Yeah.
But when you're on pistols, it's that much harder to leverage. And again, you know, HEET had full control of the map, pushing in through the B site, creating a nice little pincer for themselves in through Garage and up through the back of the C site. And unfortunately, Alliance's post-plant just wasn't where it needed to be with only 3 players alive. They couldn't really cover each other as well as they would have liked. Little force up here from HEET as they deserve. But Malfoy's bringing a Marshal of his own. See who can win out on this battle.
Early bit of C-Long aggression, not going to find too much, and now Alliance doubling back, it looks like. Actually, no, they are still committing. They were kind of tempted to rotate back towards mid and see what they could find in those troubled waters, but now they're committing over towards out of C, and wow, Kinguin needs to be careful. Spam coming through, causing problems. Spam of their own, Eccles for one, Kinguin as well, looking for another. What a brilliant flick that is. In from behind, Eccles, pistol whipping, but it can go in for a 3k flawless round for HEET. Yes, the investment for Alliance wasn't phenomenal, but that's a really nice shot down over towards C. They're barely even touched.
Yeah, this is a bit of a, I don't know, a Vietnam flashback at this point. Okay, we are only 2 rounds in, so can't get too stressed out just yet, but I think Alliance will be getting a little bit stressed. Now, bearing in mind that they didn't have much into that round and they all just kind of funneled in towards the C site, probably weren't expecting to get too much done there. They were hoping to make it an expensive force for HEET and have to force them to buy in or only have pistols, but weren't able to make that happen, so it is a perfect bonus for HEET. Alliance still have the advantage. They would have wanted a better advantage into this round. See if they can convert this, knowing that they do have at least a little bit of extra firepower for themselves.
Yeah, Paranoia comes through and Eccles doesn't spot out too much in towards mid. I think he knows they're playing nice and passive, but he needs to be careful not to relay that misinformation that nothing's there, because we know so far Alliance are still ever so slightly sort of testing those waters. Hang on a second, Goon with the Headhunter could cause a problem here. He might be able to find one, and he will do. Looking for another, and he finds it, Kinguin. That's job done with that sort of buy. That's enough. He'll take it. A 2-for-1 special from him, and now, of course, numbers in their favor. Walking straight in towards the hands of Waddle. He'll take a freebie. Remo won't say no as well, as Neela just has no idea where he is. And Zoran left all alone in a 1 versus 4. Sam, this has fallen apart. He is in a world of trouble. Everybody utility ever. They were looking for the knife as well. Waddle, you cheeky man.
Dude, I saw that second Headhunter come through, and I, honest to God, when I saw the blood spray, I thought that Soren got collated. But he didn't. Here it is. I honest to God thought that it went straight through, but unfortunately, it didn't. I say unfortunately, it doesn't really matter because, you know, they still win the round. Great stuff there from HEET to just keep themselves alive despite having a far inferior buy. Alliance showing once again that their attacking half is a little bit weaker than what they would want. So now it's almost a full Sheriff round. It's just going to be Nilla. I mean, why invest? You've got Headhunter. It's basically a Sheriff. And so he can hold on to a little bit of extra cash going into the next round. But we're not expecting too much to come out of this. If they can just keep it expensive, that's been a theme. These teams struggle to keep rounds expensive. And if Alliance can do that, maybe they can pull themselves back in.
Yeah, precisely that. I mean, for HEET to convert on a bonus round is so monumental for, well, momentum to actually work in their favor. It gives them that stability in terms of long-term economy is such a big factor for just getting that early control in towards this first half of map number 2. Still for Alliance, they're going now over towards the A side. Haven't tested these waters just yet, and now's the decision to do so. Can go low on HP, doesn't matter. Good for the first, that's good enough. That's all he needs to do, buy a little bit of time, and of course, get the numbers in their favor. Spike to go down though. What's the decision now in terms of this retake? They do have some utility to work with. And of course the numbers 2. And Malfoy getting very aggressive on his own, and he'll be paying the price for that one. As Remoy comes out on top, it's a 5 versus 3. And yes, Kingu is low on HP, but all they have to do is play for the trades. That doesn't even matter. The Remoy just deleting them. Easily done. Paranoia will come through. Headhunter doesn't find his mark, and a flawless retake from HEET to make it a 4-0 start. Sam, you gotta say, I'm very impressed so far.
Yeah, again, this was a round that we more or less expected HEET to come out on top of because obviously of what Alliance's economy looked like into that round. Now, round 5, momentum shift round. It didn't work for HEET on the previous map, and Alliance just kind of steamrolled through.
Right there.
We'll see if Alliance can do the exact opposite here. They're actually investing into an operator for Nilla. Not a complete glass cannon, but he does only have half armor. They have Seekers online, though, which could give them a ton of information, and it could be pivotal into winning the round. But bearing in mind, King Yun has the Tour de Force online, and he can pop that if necessary. Probably won't, but could.
Good, exactly. I think there's the possibility if he wants to, but it's the necessity. Probably not. Nila now holding deep in towards other tons. What can he find, though? No overextension be made here. Hang on a second, Monstrum. Look at this gap he could find. This could be the difference. Seeker's going to come through. Missed shot as well. Seeker's coming out. It might actually cause a bit of a rift. He's just going to fall away. Smart way to play it. Seekers will come through. Monstrum's positioning towards mid, giving away, but the A side completely exposed now, and this is not exactly where they want to be. Seekers as well, going past Kingu, and it's a very, very tough retake now in 5 versus 5. They still need to get that spike down. Now it will go down, planted close and personal towards heaven.
Planted.
And what is HEET's decision here?
This is a good round from Alliance. I mean, they bought so much space for themselves with those Seekers. It's massive, and now they're in a 5v5 retake for HEET. That does put them in a bit of a tough spot. They have to play this perfectly.
They do. Soren, not bad for the first. Looking for more. Remore keep going though. One apiece. Hang on a second. This is changing hands as Eccles is making things tough. He's good for a double, in fact, but it's a 1 versus 2 now. The operator Nila needs to come up huge. Spike will be tapped. Swinging in. Good for the first. Tough. Tapped as well. Just jiggling the corner. Might have to stick it. Waddle will find it, and he's got the time. Deletes Nila. That is stunning. Potentially could try and make his way over towards to pick up that operator, but who cares? It's a 5-0 start. A flawless continuance from HEET as they are steamrolling now.
That's a heartbreaking loss for Alliance. They get onto the site, they get the spike down, they get their angles perfect. They manage to take down the first player from HEET that advances from heaven, and then it all just falls apart. You know, HEET do such a good job of creating a lot of these angles. You know, I talk about how dangerous it can be trying to retake on the A site, because 9 times out of 10, teams will just kind of funnel in through that connector. And that's not what we see from HEET. They actually split up their forces really, really well. They take a lot of that space, and it all comes down to Waddle v Nilla. And I really thought Nilla was going to land that shot. He knew exactly where Waddle was. But it just doesn't work. Now Alliance back onto a save. A Bulldog and a Blade Storm is the most powerful things they have in their arsenal right now. It's not looking good.
Well, now in towards Remoy. Good for 1. Flash to come through as well. Could give him a second. Blade Storm dismissed with ease as they're already just steamrolling towards this B side. Nila, at least with that Bulldog in hand, will be able to find 1. Looking for any more. Can he find? Is the question. Now drops Waddle to low HP, but he still remains alive, which is all that they need to do. Cedar. Sheriff in hand. Good for the first. 2 versus 3, and from a position that looked impossible, now potentially could be probable. A 2 versus 3, it's actually room to work with, and they've got decent firepower on board as well. Bulldog one fires target, swinging in. Laboured spray, and Eccles punishes Cedar all alone. 1 versus 3, all they have to do is play for the double swing. Teleportable sight, Eccles will be able to compose himself to keep this flawless for HEET 6-0. Sam, this is one-sided as it gets.
I mean, it's not terrible for what Alliance had going into that round. They get 3 kills. We talk about keeping it expensive, but unfortunately at this point, HEET have got such a runaway in terms of what economy they have available that it's going to be really difficult to slow that train down, even if you do, as we saw, get 3 kills in the round. It does at least take a little bit of the cash away, but the operator is still in play here for King Yun. 2 ultimates online for HEET, including the Rolling Thunder, which is massive. And oh, look at that fault line, just to slow things down. The perfect capitalization from Monstrum as well. And this is why Alliance just struggle.
Ooh. Swinging in as well. Eccles, Monstrum one apiece. Showstopper doesn't deliver, though. Monstrum is very unfortunate to get at least 1 there. That is a
We need a replay on
tough
that.
one to explain. Good luck analysing that one, Sam, as I have no idea how he didn't get anything. Very unfortunate. Now left in a 1 versus 3, though. Spike in his front of him. You know, it's looking all pretty there sitting alone, but he knows there's trouble looping around these corners. And with the Tour de Force online, he has to be pinpoint here. Waddle around this corner, waiting for the engagement, waiting for the overextension. Sounds have been heard. Going to be able to connect, though. That's a beautiful shot. Will he expect a close position? No. tunnel visioned in, and Remoy makes a 7-0 start. They guarantee a lead going into the second half, and the way things have been playing so far, Sam, I'd probably expect a little more than 7.
I think at this point in the previous map, HEET had already picked up 1 point. So Alliance, oh man, that showstopper. So it was just slightly to the left. A little bit of fancy footwork there. Thank you for the multiple angles, observers. Y'all are cracked.
I respect
it. You know, we've got some really good observers of production team here. Shout out. They don't get enough love. Go find them. Go follow them. But anyway, just a really unfortunate one there. It doesn't get the value, but it creates a bit of space. It slows things down a bit, and that's what HEET were doing in that round. They used so much of their utility to just slow Alliance down, and Alliance just don't know how to respond to it. And I'm going to go back to the whole Sova thing. I feel like not having information to play off of could be a disadvantage in this.
Little opener there. Trailblazers to come through. Zoran going to find the first. Paranoia catches Eccles. That's very unfortunate. He sort of walked into it. Looking for one of his own, though. Will be able to deliver. Good for the first. Doubling back into his backside. Still just playing around the angles. He's all alone. Good for the second. He's not made a bit of a meal of it, but that's a first on the board for Alliance. The opening kill goes their way. They take the numbers advantage, and everything just quite nicely slots into place.
Yeah, a very much needed round win here. A little bit of a change of pace, not just in terms of actually winning a round, but they changed their pacing in the round itself. And we'd said that, you know, the faster hits from Alliance were the ones where they tended to get that little bit more value. And we didn't see a ton of it in the second half of the second map, or the previous map. And we were kind of hoping to see a bit more of it. So nice to see that they can pull it out when necessary. But they need to string the next few rounds together if they want to, you know, create that buffer that we spoke of. 7-5 half isn't terrible. You can definitely make something out. Oh, there's patience. No! Oh, that's the second time Nilla's lost out on a peak battle. Oh, that's heartbreaking.
That is very unfortunate. And he had the right idea as well. It's not even his fault, realistically speaking, but look where we are now. Numbers in favour of HEET. And all they have to do is play for the trade game. They've gone quite aggressive in the defensive stance, and I like this. We see Monstrum over towards a long, still close and personal, but I mean, for Alliance, what do they do here?
I've got your trail.
Their best.
Yeah, their best. Seeks online, looking for something. Paranoia to come through, and Monstrum needs to be cautious now. He's in a very, very rough position. Guiding light right in his face. Full blind him. Another fire. Full blind as well. Desmo will find the opener. Look for the trade. Eccles won't be able to connect. TP in over towards the left-hand side. Hang on a second. He's in for a two-piece. Cedar trades him out, but the fact that he even finds 2 is good enough because it keeps that man advantage in HEET's hand. And on a 3 versus 2, they're doubling back. 25 seconds on the clock, and Alliance are trying to make a kill play towards B. Water win towards backside. Prowler's online. Will spot out 1. And now the clock is their worst enemy. I mean, what did they do here? The Haunt gives away their position. They've gone back over towards the C side. They actually will be able to get that spike down, but just about.
Alliance cosplaying HEET a little bit here. No!
Uh-oh.
Oh, the timing.
Oh, Rolling Thunder online, flooding out the site as well. They know they've got control of it. They need to just clear out this close position, swinging in. Good for the first. A little bit of labour spray will find it. Will they expect the second? Answer is no, as Waddle will fall. Malfoy just trying to buy some time as it gets Remoy. The Breach versus Breach. Remoy tapping away. Still, just causing a nuisance, but it's Malfoy's coming on top. 2-piece for him and a clutch as well, and a 1 versus 2. As the Lions find their second and just about.
This was really good. I mean, so they found themselves in a 2 versus 3, and they're able to pivot that quite nicely because no one's checking Garage for some reason. And it's a bit of a rough one. I mean, we see the fault line getting lined up, but the swing is timed so well that the fault line doesn't actually connect until after the kill has come through onto King Ian. So it creates a ton of space for them, and they're able to, you know, lock it down. 2 rounds in a row for Alliance. They're starting to find their footing a little bit here. And at the perfect time as well, make sure that they can keep themselves alive in it. We're seeing a bit of a slowdown from the util usage from HEET, and that was something that I praised. They've been doing really well at slowing down Alliance, but this is where Alliance have kind of caught wise to the game. Now they're waiting for that util to come out before they push in, and it seems to be working out a lot better for them. Oh, Derpy Bird.
Oh, Bird's having a little float about. Not gonna find too much though. Over towards B. They're getting a little bit too much space than more they expected. Oh, that's double from Remo. That's brilliant. Zoran just back-turned than expected. Flash coming through as well. Haunt online gives Waddle a freebie. Hang on a second. They have fumbled this. This was looking brilliant over towards B. They walk into the crossfire. And speaking of, Monstrum close. A freebie for him. Bacon's to come through as well. He can force Cedar into a very inopportune position. Dodging around. It's a 1-for-1.
I am not a fan of B executes. I think you know this quite well.
Yeah.
For anyone that doesn't know me, I don't like B executes. I don't remember the statistic, but I had an analyst. I say had, I didn't ask him to, but he went and he checked it. I was on stream and I was talking about it, and he went and he checked it. And it's something like a 33% retake rate on B, as opposed to like the 20-odd% for every other site in the entire game.
Okay.
B-side executes tend to fail, unless you take full control of the site, and unfortunately Alliance failed to do so. And so he take beautiful advantage of that one. They're back in control of the game. Alliance back down onto mostly pistols. And one ultimate, it's Desmo, got a TP, it can do a lot, but it's gonna have to be leveraged perfectly, and this might not be the round to do it.
Yeah, they made their way up towards short for free, full blind as well. I mean, Remoy in no man's land, he's dropped immediately. Can go in, trying to find second, and he will. Lovely flick onto Zoran. Will stay alive as well, and that's all that matters. Malfoy in closer person as well, to expect it. No, he doesn't. Malfoy, another kill to his already relatively impressive Spike, being 8-2 down into behind. Can do it. Gives a freebie over towards Neela. And now we're in a 3 versus 2. Spike goes down, and this retake becoming less than likely moment by moment as the numbers favor Alliance, the positions do as well, and it's all very reliant as Eccles flank to find some security about it. If he can find an opener, potentially something about it, tapping away, Labour Spray will be able to deliver. Outrageous one of his own. Hang on a second, this changes hands. Neela now, all on his own, needs to find a 2-piece, and what can he do? 64 points of HP, it's only good for 1. Monstrum trades the classic 3-2-1 swing, and Heat make it a 9th.
Monstrum getting the kill through the box onto Malfoy is actually pretty huge. I wasn't sure that he was going to be able to connect those last few shots and get that kill. So I thought it was going to be a 2 versus 2 as we head into finally getting it onto the side time, sticking down. He'd have to make a move. But because he's able to get that kill, it's a 2 versus 1. Now, Nilla very closely comes to clutching that. We've seen him win those before. He isolates those 1v1s, but he cannot connect the shots when he gets into that final 1 versus 1. And of course, it's Monstrum that's able to clutch it out in the end there. 9-2. If Heat win this round, we're literally seeing a full flip of what we saw on map 1. And I think they have what they need to make that one happen. Full buy-in. Twitter Force comes online as well. This has to be pixel perfect from Alliance.
Desmo. Both of them just moments away from just about who spots who first. That's an arm. That's going to have spam coming through. Bit of a Laban spray. But at the very least, that's information. Eccles knows he's tagged one down low. He will come online, though. So at the very least, not the end of the world, may I say. But Spike collected now. Back over towards that B site. They're trying to find something. Smoke in his face. Malfoy actually going to sit inside of it, wait for an opportunity, but he could look the wrong way. Remoy hoping that he overextends through it and potentially gives him an opener. He's just sitting into his backside, inviting that pressure. As it looks like they might posture over towards that C. Look for that split. Can they find it? Trailblazer won't spot out too much information. In towards window as well. We see one just waiting in and around the utilities. All about who spots who first. Malfoy's made his way through. He snuck out. Freebie. We'll find it. Remoy falls. That's Alliance with the opener. What more can they find? Guiding light in Monstrum's face as he's forced away. But in comes all of the utility they need. They're swinging in Monstrum. Hang on a second. He's got in behind many Lions. He could be good for 1, but no. It doesn't expect the close angle. Neela, one of his own. A 5 versus 3. This retake starting to fall away moment by moment. They're just in a less than adequate position. Trades coming through, and it's all down to one man. It can go. He's been in clutches before, but this would be something special. Dash on towards the side. Desmo in behind. Alliance make it a 9-3 half.
Okay, see, this was a good B execute. When I say they have to take control of the site, that's exactly what they do. They funnel out really well. They get that first kill onto the back of side onto Malfoy because he's not really paying attention. He's checking the wrong angle. Nobody's really noticed that they've snuck around the other side. I mean, he sees the smoke come into the left side, so he's like, well, surely that's where they're going to push. It's a mind game, and they're able to take control of Connector, and there's 4 of them pushing towards Connector, so the 2 players trying to come back from A are in a world of trouble, and they're not able to win out those battles. Kinguin in a 1 versus 3, never going to be an easy one to come out on top of. Alliance doing slightly better than what HEET did on map 1, a 9-3, and we all know how that 9-3 curse works. We've seen a 10-2 curse, and we see the 9-3 return here from Alliance.
I do think Alliance needs to be careful not to be a little bit too aggressive on the defender side, though, because they can leave quite distinct openings. Hang on a second, in towards mid they're going. Malfoy go for the first, Remoy will fall, that's brilliant. Look at to try and make a second, and they will see that. Drops Eccles, and already this pistol round looking in favour of the Alliance boys. They're left in a very good position. Zoran makes another spike dropped. 5 versus 2. And I think, Sam, it's probably safe to say this might be in favour of Alliance, make a 9-4. We spoke with a 9-3 curse, and it actually might come to fruition.
Soren full blind still gets the kill while Ferrari peeking. I mean, I love it. I love it. It's absolutely illegal. And this was an interesting one from HEET. You know, trying to push in towards that B side, but Alliance take a nice, fairly aggressive stance here. With a 5 versus 2, it's highly unlikely that he'd come back from this one. There you go. Kinguin, last one left alive. Gets a nice little exit frag for his troubles. Maybe he can get the spike down. Nah, not allowed. Would be nice to have that little bit of extra cash in the back pocket, but Cider completely shuts it down. Now, this is a good start to Alliance, and we actually saw the same in the previous maps. We had a 10-2 half. Alliance in the lead. HEET win the pistol, and off the back of that, they just barrel through the second half. And Alliance replicate that. Of course, they force up in this round. They have every right to. They have the cash available. So SMGs and a Marshall across the board here as HEET remain on pistols. In fact, not even going for like an upgraded pistol. They don't want to spend a single cent into this round unnecessarily. You can actually see they've managed to hold on to some of that util from the previous round. They're not even buying more util here. It's a almost full save. I think it was just Kinguin who maybe bought some bullets for the headhunters. Yeah. They have the equivalent of 1 sheriff. So not a terrible idea at the end of the day. And do you see they go for the orb control and they immediately pull back? I mean, this is huge. They're trying to get those ultimates online as quickly as possible, and that's such a good call. The sooner you get those ultimates online, the sooner you give yourself an advantage in a round. Yeah, exactly that. Now, over towards a long. Not too much to work with here. Jump around the corner. Information gain. Neela gives away his ruse, his position. The smoke in his face, not exactly the greeting he was looking for. Now they're once again doubling back. It could still be that C here. I think they're trying to draw attention and utility out for the defender side, and then hopefully try and find an entry through, maybe a spike going down, potentially a kill or two, which might give them an opportunity. You know, a Spectre in the wrong hands could be the difference maker. Even that Marshall could help them out. We'll have to wait and see. In comes under the smoke. Paranoia to come through as well, but on their own, they're being shut down. Zoran for the first. Dash is well aligned if he wants to use it. Malfoy caught off guard, and exactly what he was looking for. A 1-for-1 with Desmo and Kinguin, and potentially there could be something more of this. Spectre collected. Kinguin makes another. Hang on a minute. Neela's all alone. Just so low on HP. He's swung by Monstrum. HEET have made a thrifty round work. And what a round that is as well. Oh, that's heartbreaking. Oh, wow, that 100% should have been an Alliance round, and they're going to be kicking themselves for that one. Soren knows that there's someone in the smoke. The kill comes from there. He knows Kinguin is there, but he's so focused on the back angle, even though there's teammates there, he doesn't turn to double check what's happening, and that costs them dearly. A rough round for Alliance, and it's really unfortunate off the, we saw such a good map from them in the previous one. It was a 14-12. We went all the way to overtime, but now HEET on double digits, getting closer and closer to match point.
Already looking pretty good. Guiding light just ready and waiting as well. Bit of control trying to be found here. Malfoy overextends, pays the price for it. It's a 1-for-1. Desmo will drop Monstrum. That's an important kill, but that's all Zoran's going to see. Eccles right into the crosshair. Keeps the numbers. Favor of HEET, and they're just trying to keep this ticking across. Waddle rather than gunning. Makes it 2. Desmo all alone now. 1 versus 4. This round is done. HEET up to 11 unless Desmo can pull off something monumental. And I'm not saying I'm counting them out, but it's pretty unlikely.
Yeah, pistol round. Not too much that you can really expect to come out of this. It's a bit of a rough one here for Alliance. Now, we got to look forward a little bit. And I think that that's the most important thing to note. So HEET, of course, are going to be sitting well pretty into the next round. All right, Alliance keep it relatively expensive. Well done, Desmo, the coach coming up big there to try and take some guns away where possible. But it's not going to make a huge difference. Full rifles still for HEET, full armor, full util. No ultimates just yet, or as much as they've gone for those orb plays and they've tried to ensure that they do have those available as quickly as possible, haven't quite been able to make that happen for themselves. So still at a massive advantage, but Alliance also full rifled up here. Desmo got his ult online in the previous round off the back of those little one taps, and then of course dying at the end. So has that available. We saw some really quick thinking from him with that TP a couple of weeks ago, so hopefully he can deliver that and so much more when he uses his ult.
Oh, that's the question. Still now. Early bit of regression coming through towards doors. Not too much to be found for the time being. The regression coming through from Zoran in towards mid, but he doesn't want to overextend. They've already paid the price that once before, and understandably why they don't want to do it again. However, over towards long, a double stack kick could cause an issue. Good for 1-2, but Desmo, Cedar as well, traded Eccles, and now it's 2 versus 4 in a matter of seconds, all down to one man's prowess, but Monstrum in for the flank. Makes it slightly more doable. Oh, no. That's an unfortunate blast back. Leaves Kingu in a 1 versus 3. He's clutched before, but this will be monstrous. As he finds the first. Dropping down in towards mid as well. Needs to be careful of his flank. Spike down 2 in a 1 versus 2. It's all about timing. Will he be able to spot it out? Malfoy, a little bit undecisive, falling back. And now, Kingu just falls away, slinks away in towards the back lines. And has to try and recover the spike and find something with 30 seconds. I mean, Sam, I don't think this is too kind for him.
This is rough. He's got to get moving as quickly as possible. He don't want to lose this round. And, I mean, we've seen him clutch, like you said, so many times before. But he has to play this carefully. I mean, this is such a rough position for him to be in. But no one's babysitting Spike. He's going to be able to pick that. This is the thing, though. He's cleared the whole of the C site. He knows that it's available. But now, as he starts to make the run back, Nilla is ready to cut him off. He's not going to have a lot of time. And just, oh no, look at this. He's waited too long. And it's just absolutely denied. Oh, he was in such a tight spot there. I think taking the long way around, yes, you do lower the chances of you running into an enemy player because you do kind of know more or less where those last 2 players are. But unfortunately, it also means that you burn out a lot of time. And well played, Desmo. Honestly, holding the line there, getting those first 2 kills, instrumental for Alliance to keep them alive in this. We said that their attacking side tended to be a little lackluster, but their defensive half tended to be a lot stronger. We're starting to see those signs of life here. This poor Desmo, the hero of the previous round, is down onto an SMG, unfortunately. And Kingyun pops that to a force. There's a lot of firepower to be had here.
Yeah, it's that double from Desmo that just causes all the worry over towards HEET. Of course, they're only 2 rounds away from taking the map in the series, but those 2 are hard to come by thus far. What is the... What's the plan here? I mean, for HEET, they've tried to go quick. They paid the price for it, as we saw prior. Maybe slowing that tempo could work in their favor. Guarding late comes through, doesn't spot out too much. They were cautious as well of a scope at range. They don't want to overextend, and potentially about timing. Tour de Force doesn't quite find its mark, and now they know it's on the ball, but it's nearly good for the first, and will just fall away with ease as Monstrum is dropped. Numbers back in their favor. Door control not really found as they had hoped, as it becomes so costly.
This is a good look for Alliance, at least. A nice little start to this round, but all these B executes so late into the game. With Alliance holding it so strong here, this could be detrimental for HEET.
Cedar, 1, 2. Looking for 3. Will he find it? That's the information. It's good enough. Waddle just about falls away over towards A. And actually, they'll be able to get the side, which is the good thing. Horn is destroyed, but they've got the side Seekers online as well, but they can very easily dismiss of them. Now how do they play this? Spikes to go down, a 2 versus 5. It's not impossible, but it's pretty improbable as the Tour de Force is yet to find its mark.
Oh, B-side executes, man. At the very least, they've managed to get that spike down, which is pretty impressive for what started out as a B hit. But Kingyun gonna have to hold the line. He gets 2! No.
Surely not. Teleports backside. No. Desmo, that's a mistake. He gave away the ruse. No. Neela. Oh no, Desmo TPing was so loud and he was into the open. It was an easy swing. The crossfire wasn't set up. Heat make it 12, and that is map and series point. One slight error. It's a 2 versus 5, and they fumble it.
I see the idea. So you have two players kind of peaking at the same time. Soren and Malfoy trying to peak at the same time, but they're a little too slow. And Kingyun is able to somehow flick that perfectly. They bring the numbers advantage into their own hands, and Waddle, the last player, funneling in from that connector. I said it's such a dangerous way to try to retake. You have to have a separate angle, and with Malfoy having gone down in sewers, you've lost that second angle, and it's so easy for Heat to clean up. Heat is now on match point. Alliance, look at their buy. Oh, it's forced, but it's broken. It's not ideal. The 2-1 dream could be dead here.
It could be. Can go in. Good for the first. Already now with this is a left-hand position. Played to one line though. Barrel spotted. I'm going to take a could be overextending though. Soren. Oh, that's brutal to watch. That is now down to 3 to keep the dream alive for Alliance. Yet to pick up a map. This was potentially looking like their first chance to pick one up. They've already fumbled a 10-2 lead, and well, trying to do one of their own is not looking too pretty right now. Is with 35 seconds left to work with a 12-5 scoreline, 5 versus 3. They've double stacked in towards A long. In comes the utility coming through. He can be cut up by himself. Malfoy will fall. Cedar online as well. That can deny that presence swing. And in towards Remoy, he will fall. Cedar has to do more though. Still at range. Can go in yet one more. Cider left all alone. 1 versus 4. Sam, I hate to say it, but I think this one might be done. Spotting him out as well, just toying with his food echoes as well. They know exactly where he's coming from. This game is done. 12-5, soon to be 13. Can he find anything more? It's a consolation. Can go in force, but that is it, ladies and gentlemen. 2-0 the series. Heat take a 2-3 finish in terms of the bracket, and commiserations to Alliance. So many opportunities for them to find success, but it's so many, so few.
Yeah, I think that a huge proponent of that in the second map was that Alliance didn't get to start on their defensive half.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, it was their map pick, so of course they're not going to get the chance to do that. And they didn't have a lot to work with into the second round. Okay, they had 1 round more than what Heat did on map 1, but unfortunately, it wasn't the buffer that they needed, knowing that they were the underdog in this matchup.
Yeah.
And honestly, for an underdog, a 14-12 map 1 is nothing to turn your nose up at. Unfortunately, map 2 didn't go the way that they would have hoped. That puts them at an 0-5 in the standings. A heartbreaking result for Alliance. Only 2 games left in the season for them. Their chances at playoffs are well and truly off the table. But the upside for Heat is this puts them at 2-3. They have every opportunity to claw their way back into playoff contention. And that was what was so important about this game, why it was so important for them to come out on top. They've managed to do that. And hopefully it'll be all uphill from here.
Yeah, I mean, you're really going to feel for Alliance now. It's 5 games played, 5 losses, 10 maps played, and not a single one they have picked up in their favor. It's really unfortunate to see. And for Alliance, I think, I mentioned this is still sort of the testing grounds of the core themselves, but isn't the full roster. Heat made sure to close things out in a somewhat of a statement fashion towards map number 2. We take a look at the scoreboard. Can go in again, the MVP, 331 ACS, 22 kills, 2.5 KDA. Cedar, not too bad of a performance for 1.1 KDA, 15 kills, 236 ACS, but it's not even close to my man Kinguyen, 13-5, and what a performance from him individually.
God, Kinguyen is an absolute monster, honestly. Yeah. I mean, he's somebody that has shown up in almost all of the Heat series, obviously alongside Eccles, consistently just being a really strong fragger and just doing really well for himself, keeping the team afloat, keeping them in it. And I think that he has been a huge proponent in their comebacks and also in their maintaining of a strong standing here. For Alliance, however, it is back to the drawing board. See them again next week maybe, or the week after, as they try to get a couple of wins on the board here. It's not going to make too much of a difference, but the more practice they can get, the better they will become. And of course, hopefully they will sort out those slight roster issues that they've had. Shout out Desmo once again, being a stalwart for this team, being coach and player, trying so hard to keep them afloat. But unfortunately, they don't have the punch, the power to back the punch, I suppose. It's more like a bit of a slap. Like when a woman has like a ring and she turns the ring inside out and she like slaps and it like cuts, and like those really stupid soap drama. Yeah, like there's a little bit of damage behind it, but there's not a lot of power and not a lot to actually make it happen. So it's a little bit unfortunate here for Alliance.
Yeah, I mean, it's commiserations to them, right? There was some real moments of brilliance as well. I mean, even Desmond individually, we saw that double over towards C Long. It's stunning stuff. He's got it in the locker, but I think until Alliance really secure that roster, we can't really expect too much of them. And I think Heat came in as the favourites and they showed it. It was a really good performance, especially into map number 2. It was much more sort of decisive. The Heat that we expect coming in towards, generally speaking, Polaris, with the names that they got under their belt, and overall, especially after overtime, especially they went into that second half of map 1, it was just all of them. A really, really good performance. And now, of course, potentially there's kind of a couple of talks of maybe he can sneak their way in towards the top 4. I mean, it's still a long journey there, but they can come into the conversation of a fringe team now. A couple of mistakes from some of the higher ups, and who knows, there could be a possibility. Yes, it will require a lot of people to really fumble their positions, but it's still in for the play for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. We spoke about how, permutations become really important. But if just one team in the top 4 loses their next 3 games, that puts them tied with Heat.
Exactly that.
So it's definitely doable. And when you have 4 teams tied for first place at a 3-1, it's more than possible that can actually happen. So definitely still in contention here, keeping their dreams alive. And of course, 1-3 was a bit of a disappointing scoreline to have on the standings. So it's, probably a bit of a pat on the back for themselves to be able to say, hey, we've had a bit of a resurgence. We're starting to build up points again. And as we continue through the season, that's where it's going to become that much more important. But as we mentioned before, this is where the pressure is on for them, because one mistake and that's it. They're pretty much out of contention. They cannot afford to make a mistake from here on out, and that's a lot of pressure to have.
It
and
is.
Looking forward to finding out how they're feeling under all of that pressure, because I do believe we've got a pretty interesting interview coming up here, a pretty exciting one.
With Eccles joining us, it'll be nice to kind of pick the brains off the back of a 2-0, as Eccles will be joining us momentarily, and that'll be good to see. Eccles, first of all, mate, congratulations. There he is.
Hello,
welcome, mate. Congratulations. Give us your thoughts. 2-0, map number 1, very, very close, and then map number 2, a little bit more of the regular proceedings. How you feeling?
Yeah, no, it feels good. I said to the boys as soon as we won, like that's how easy it can be when we play to like our full potential. I think it was a bit of like a very slow start on Ascent. Obviously, they whipped out the Sage pick on the defense, which is a horror show. I've dealt with that before. It's very hard to play against. But yeah, no, we did well to bounce back, and I'm really proud of them.
Yeah, I mean, that Sage pick was something that I was kind of questioning, because we don't see it a ton on Haven. So I feel like it takes a lot to pull that off. Were you impressed with Alliance's performance, given that they are at the bottom of the scoreboard? I think this is one of the best matches they've had.
Yeah, I mean, it happens when they've got nothing to lose, and they were showing it. They were just absolutely giving it. They were hitting their shots, and yeah, no, like fair play to them. It worked good. Like I've had it against me before. The Sage counter pick on Ascent, it's very difficult to deal with, and like fair play for going for it, and yeah, it was working well.
And what was it like in the sort of the team speak when you were 10-2 down at the half, you claw it back, and it's kind of 12 rounds consecutively to take it an OT? I'm sure it probably was pretty excitable in there.
Yeah, I think at the start it was just like I said to them, guys, just round by round, that's all we got to do. And as soon as King won that pistol, I said, promise you guys we're going to win this game, because he did like a crazy 1v3, and we just built on that. The boys kept calm today, which I'm really, really proud for. We're very calm, cool, collected. And obviously after we got the win, then we can get excited. But yeah, really the clinical performance towards the second half there on Ascent.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have some really, really strong players on your team, but your performance in Polaris hasn't really reflected that. And one of our big storylines has been, you haven't had a lot of time together on the team. And obviously you started out as a sub for the team, and then you got announced as an official player. And, it's been, I would assume, a bit of an uphill battle. So looking at your scoreline, looking forward, knowing that your chances to playoffs are there, but you got to rely a lot on what's happening in the top 4. How are you guys feeling for the rest of the season?
We've got nothing to lose now because we're kind of like fighting an uphill battle, and I think that helps the players a lot. There's a lot less pressure, and like today we've even done like a big role change. We've changed off our Sentinel and put him on Initiator, and we've put our duelist onto Sentinel. So like, I think this is now where I think it was a needed change coming in because, like you said, I was a sub at first, and we've already had so much time, and I think we came to the conclusion, okay, this like iteration of our roster and these players and these agents make the most amount of sense. And like we've only like literally a few days practice on this. We've come out and shown like a lot better performance, especially on Haven. So yeah, I'm hopeful. Obviously, it's not in our hands mainly, but just take it one game at a time, and we can make the playoffs.
I love to hear it, mate. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We'll leave you to go and celebrate after a 2-0, and now, of course, starting to find your form again. So I appreciate joining us, and best of luck going forward.
All right, thanks for having me, guys. Feel the heat.
Cheers, mate. Love to see it. Well, 2-0 against Alliance. Yeah, you got to feel for Alliance, but I mean, credit to HEET, especially in towards map 2. There was just one-way traffic, both on their attacking and defending side. It was only seeming like it was going to go one way. And of course, you could start to see there from kind of the echoes into that they're now starting to feel a little bit more comfortable as a roster. As you mentioned, it's not really been a lot of time together. I mean, they came into the season brand new. Echoes was originally a stand-in. Now he's official. I mean, they haven't had a lot of time to actually really iron out the kinks and work together. Yeah. And we're starting to see that hard work pay off.
And I love the role changes. I know that, so we came into this and I was kind of like, oh, Remoy the Sentinel versus Nilla the Sentinel, and big match up there. And they came in and they completely blew me away because now Remoy is on Initiator, as Ekel said. And of course, they've changed King Yun from the duelist onto the Sentinel, the chamber play. And I like that they go into chamber because, as I said, it does kind of convert a little bit between the Jet and the chamber, and maybe they'll be able to swap him onto other agents in the future if necessary, other Sentinel players. Monstrum did a pretty good job on that raise. That 2K showstopper still very much alive in the back of my head on Ascent. So they're looking a lot better now, and I like the changes, and hopefully it'll stead them really well towards the end of the season.
Exactly that. Well, of course, that is us done for game number 1. Now we can start to focus our attention towards game number 2. It's XL taking on H2O. But of course, before we do any of that, we're going to throw this one to a quick break. So, ladies and gentlemen, stick around, go get a drink, go get something to eat, because this next game is going to be a banger. H2O come off the back of a victory. Can they make it 2 against the giant of XL? We'll see you after the break.
So,
Phoenix!
Low?
Let's go!
Let's go, boys! Vamos!
Let's go!
boys!
Woo! Woo!
Yeah, just chill. On ping. Nice.
Planting.
Stem spot. He's dead. Well played. Nice.
Good boys.
All I need. It's a love tonight.
Lol.
He's AFK or what? Are you kidding me? You're stealing my kills, Foxy.
You ran for this one, yes?
Yes.
It's fine, Male. Don't do it, Male. Go in. You're not on it.
Let's go! Boys! I love you! Oh my god, I love you. I love you guys. I love you so much.
Under heaven.
He's
Short main side.
Janet main. Main. -70.
Yeah, he's 1 HP done.
Nice!
Nice.
We like it. We like it spicy. Let's go. I'm gonna go B last round.
If he sticks to the defuse though, he doesn't have to worry about the lockdown. Oh, but now he has to. Taking off of it. Oh, but he finds the kill!
Good.
Nice!
Nice. Now what?
The 1v3 for the boys to see it out. Bro, I thought the turret was gonna kill me, bro. I was so scared.
Let's go, guys. Let's go.
Cypher's here as
Cypher
well.
A.
Open the door, open the door. Dashed in, he's in.
Stairs, stairs. Dead stairs.
Out main, both main. One
Dead
more.
main.
Cypher's there.
Nice! Come on, boys! Let's go! Played. That's how we roll, boys.
Nice, guys.
Let's go, man.
Let's go.